Hello everybody and welcome! My name is Ursa and today I'm going to be talking to you about Civilization VII. I've decided to go through everything that I can find and come up with my 5 most important pieces of information that you need to know about the Ages system and how they will impact you. So we're not just talking about the mechanics themselves, we're also talking about how they will impact the gameplay, and we'll be discussing a little bit of the reasons why these changes have been made. I'm very proud to say this video has been sponsored by Take-Two Interactive, and I also owe a thanks to Firaxis developer Carl for the chats that helped inform this video. So get yourselves comfortable and put yourself in my capable hands as I take you through Civilization VII Ages and how they are going to change Civilization forever. I wanted to bring you to this part of Ed Beach's developer diary. In the Why Ages section, he talks about 3 concepts that were fundamental to some of the brainstorming the Firaxis team did when they looked at Civilization VI and the things they needed to improve or build on. Those 3 things were snowballing, lots of micromanagement, and civ balancing. A lot of what we're going to be talking about keeps those 3 priorities in mind as areas to address, fix, or improve. The first concept I want to talk about is unique unit relevance. Now, this was a topic that Carl, the developer, was particularly interested in, and one that really resonated with me. I'm going to use Rome as a bit of an example. Rome is a civilization you can play in the Antiquity age of Civilization VII, but also has been a civ in most other iterations of the game. In Civilization VI, Rome had a bit of a problem. Just like in Civilization VII, the unique military unit was the Legion. However, in Civ VI, it kind of fell into this very strange pocket. You had to unlock the swordsman to get it, find iron, find the golden production to print it out, and then use it before its relevance was made obsolete by the fact that normally people tech up to crossbows and man-at-arms way before you can use them, and hey presto, the feared military might of the Roman Legion is now obsolete for the rest of the game. Didn't get to use it? Tough. Didn't time it properly? Tough. In Civilization VII, unique units have been engineered to last the entire age, not just a small window of time within the game. And this falls into the concept of every civ now belonging to a particular age. So Rome is Antiquity. You can only play it in Antiquity. It's locked to Antiquity, and because of that, all of its bonuses are relevant and fully displayed in the entirety of the Antiquity age. Every civilization comes with unique abilities and units and civics and buildings and improvements, and every single part of that is always relevant for the entire age, thus making each civ feel like they're competing at the height of their power. And it falls back to what Carl was saying before. They don't want there to really be a thing of early civ or late civ. Every civ is specifically engineered for the age it appears in. So using Rome as an example, you unlock the Legion, and the Legion gains increased combat strength for every Roman tradition in the government. As the age goes on, you unlock more Roman traditions in the government. Look, there are 4 of them. So the Legion continues to stay relevant and get more and more and more powerful as the age goes on. It even gets upgraded by the Legatus or other commander units that you can use as they get promoted as well. There should now never be a point in any game that your unique unit isn't relevant. They should remain relevant for the entire age and should be much easier to use. You can see here legions charging into battle on turn 65. Well, it could also be turn 165. It still wouldn't really make a difference. You should never miss out on using them. The timings should be a lot easier to balance, and any upgrade to the unit shouldn't be an upgrade away from the unit, such as we've seen before where Legion upgrade into man-at-arms. No, the upgrade should remain effectively within the same units. So legions get more powerful and become better legions, better tiers of legion, but it's still effectively the same thing. This is one of the major consequences of splitting the game into ages like this. All unique units should remain relevant for the entire age. This is a huge change to Civilization. We've seen it before, and I'm hoping that the game is going to feel a lot more balanced because of it. There is really not going to be such a problem as simply surviving as a civ for as long as possible in order just to make sure that civ is relevant. The second topic I wanted to talk to you about were the things that remain the same, the persistent aspects of the game that hold across the age transition, because a lot of people have been focused about the things that change. Obviously, when you move from one age to another, your civ changes, but a lot of things buildings don't, and I wanted to talk about those. Ed picks up on a lot of them in his article. We know that leaders remain the same across ages. This is a point that's come up quite a bit, and this was done, I believe, to promote a little bit of consistency. Ed talks about the idea of you being able to make sure that you know who's who, you know who your allies are, your bitter enemies across the ages, and to give a bit of storytelling to it. We have seen other games where both the age and the civ and the leader, they all change at the same time, and it can be really confusing. So having the leaders remain the same is an important aspect of continuity. But it's not the only thing to persist. Your traditions are always available. And by this we mean a civ's exclusive civics that are unlocked. Well, those traditions can be used in any age. So by the time you get to the modern age, all of the unique civics you've picked up from all three of your civ choices, be it Antiquity, Exploration, or Modern, well, they're all available in your government. Some leaders have bonuses for using them. Now, why is this important? Well, suddenly, the order in which you take civs from one to another matters a lot. So for instance, in this pathway, going Rome to Norman to France, well, that means that when you are France, you can use both Rome and Norman civics, and it could create a really interesting hybrid. You might decide that actually in the modern age, if I'm going to go for a science victory, I'm going to specifically pick certain civs in Antiquity and Exploration to make sure that I have all the science abilities I want later. This is going to lead to some really cool potential paths and some synergies where picking civs in previous ages makes a huge impact on the later stages of the game. It also means there's always going to be a bit of continuity, because if you had Roman cities and you change all the way to Norman, well, a lot of those Roman abilities are still going to be there. This brings in the second thing, ageless buildings. Some buildings are so essential they cannot be replaced. Any wonders you've built will always remain on the map, as well as any unique quarters you've constructed. So again, you can see here there is a wonder, so it's the Great Steel and the Colosseum. The city center is right in the middle of shot, and the unique Roman plaza is on the right. As the age goes through and it becomes a Norman city, the plaza is still there, the city center is still there, and the two wonders are still there. So ageless buildings, unique quarters, and wonders all remain on the map. So what you do in previous ages will make a massive difference in later stages of the game. Again, you're looking for that sort of synergy. This is a screenshot I've taken from the Exploration livestream, and you can see in this game, this used to be the Greek civilization that is now converted to Spain. And what's that down here? Do you see? Still the unique Greek infrastructure. It's there and it's affecting the game. So how are you going to synergize? Oh, I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be some amazing picks and some really surreal and weird ones as well that I think could stack better than you think. Here's another screenshot, and this one shows overbuilding. So in this particular example, you can see a bazaar is being built, the Exploration Age merchant building. And by putting it on this tile, it's being built over the top of an Antiquity market. And because of that, it's gaining a bunch of extra gold, plus adjacencies from the tiles around it. This again is going to be one of those things where your choices between ages make a huge impact for the later stages of the game. All of the regular buildings in your empire will be able to be overbuilt every age. So by the time you get through to the modern age, you may have even overbuilt twice. So it's both how you play and also the civ you play that's going to make the difference. Next topic I wanted to talk to you about was the actual age transition itself. What does it look like, and what are we going to see from one age to another? Well, as you go through an age, the age progress determines how far along that age is. Every turn, a little bit of age progress happens, and as you complete milestones along a legacy path, you'll contribute larger amounts to this age progress meter. It basically means that an age should last about 150 to 200 turns. Quicker if you're doing well, slower if you're not. What are the legacy paths? Well, they are a series of objectives for you to complete in an age, categorized under science, military, culture, and economy. The legacy paths are different between ages, but they do broadly stick into those four categories. As you progress down a path, each one has several milestones, and they provide you with greater rewards. And more importantly, they give you points that you can then transition with in the next age. To give an example, this is the Antiquity Age military legacy path. Have 12 towns or cities in your empire, conquered settlements count as 2, and you can see as we go along, you unlock more and more of these points. 6 points and you unlock a military and expansionist transition point. If you get to 9, you unlock the cultural one, and at 12, a wild card, as well as unlocking the golden age for the military policy. You can see the points are unlocked at different stages for the culture legacy path, but it's a very similar deal. The further along you go, the more you unlock. And here is a clip from the Modern Age live stream, in which case you can see we've just transitioned from exploration to modern, and this player has 1 wildcard, 3 science, 1 military, and 3 economic points to spend. And, well, you then spend them in the next age. There are always cheap things to do, like gaining attribute points for your leaders. These only cost 1, and you can get multiple versions of them. But there are also other things. So, for instance, with these 3 economic points, we could get the Treasure Fleet Golden Age, or tap the source. There are always lots of options. Some other ones like the 3 change capital ability, which is neat if you need to put your capital on the coast or away from harm's way, or extra science per quarters. You get the idea. The more of these points you get, the more you have to spend. You can see here that if you miss a point completely, you can actually take a Dark Age. Now, if you pick a Dark Age, you don't get anything else, but you do get this really cool, very powerful ability with some caveats. Extra movement for everyone, but slower artifacts and influence. We mentioned it before, but Golden Ages are the exact opposite. If you max out a tree, you can take the Golden Age card. This is the system that will effectively give you reward for playing a previous age well. The better you do, the more points you take into the next age, and even though everything sort of resets, you'll always got something that you can take with you. And I think collecting a lot of these attribute points is going to be an incredibly successful and powerful strategy, because as a leader gets more and more attributes, you can see the 6 trees here that leaders can take. Some of these benefits, well, they are absolutely ridiculous. Repeatable food in cities per town. This is the sort of thing that absolutely could be spammed and broke if you had enough points. I really look forward to taking this apart. I really do. The only thing to note here is that the Modern Age is the only age without a legacy path. Remember, the legacy path in this age is the victory condition. If you achieve what you need to in the Modern Age, you simply win. So no worrying about points after that. The next thing we're going to talk about is the idea of player investment or player relevance. And we mentioned this a little bit at the beginning of the video, but the takeaway that Thraxis took from Civilization VI based on internal conversations and talking to the community could quite simply be summarized with the phrase, late game Civilization is just not that fun to play. I think that's perhaps a little bit harsh, but this is certainly one of the ideas that they have run with through the development of Civilization VII. Now, this very much leans on a lot of the concepts we've been talking about before, such as micromanagement and balancing and snowballing. But how does the age system actually affect that? Well, this is something I was talking to Carl a little bit about. Ages effectively add an element of there being a soft reset to the game. So right now we can see some gameplay from the Antiquity age where Carl, as playing as Rome, is absolutely walloping someone else. This is a very effective Legion rush, and spoilers, Rome will go on to do very well in this war. In a regular game of Civilization VI, this momentum would be taken through to the rest of the game, where you'd have more cities and more economy and more military, and eventually you would snowball and just win. Now, however, we deal with a soft reset, the Exploration Age, and now we're Spain. Spain has their own unique units, their own abilities, and now that we're in the Exploration Age, there is a whole new set of legacy paths. There are new objectives and new important aspects of the game that the player should be targeting. Now, what resets? Not only the civilization, but the entire tech tree and civic tree also resets. Every age has its own. Units are also balanced in strength. You can see with the Exploration Age, there's a whole bunch of new units like catapults and trebuchets and various naval units that can now set across the ocean. One effect of this is that wars are going to seem more relevant, and world wars with huge equal superpowers going head to head, these are going to be much more likely than we've seen before. There is simply no chance for a civilization to get miles and miles ahead of another. There's going to be no situation like in previous civs where you'll be running a bomber into a swordsman. If you've got a bomber, there's a chance that AI has the possibility to get one as well. And sure, you can rush things, and if you play well, you'll get units earlier than your opponents, but there's only so far you can get ahead. Players will remain invested and relevant throughout an age no matter how they're doing. And this goes both if you're doing really well, the AI will always be able to keep up with you to an extent, but if you're doing really badly, there's a soft reset every age where you can try try and claw your way back into the game. It doesn't matter how many frigates you had, as soon as the modern age comes along, well, battleships and destroyers come along and all of your previous units are now totally obsolete. The idea is that the developers want you to stay invested with the game all the way through, with new commanders and new abilities that will capture your interest no matter where you are in the age. The idea that people can get so far ahead they quit the game, or they feel like they're losing so badly they quit the game, I think we're going to see a lot less of that now that the game has been divided into the 3 ages. And this brings me to my last topic, AI performance, and what we can expect from Civ VII now that ages are in the game. Every age has its own individual game mechanics that have been split and prioritized from one to another. So we're looking at exploration as an example, and you can see the introduction of religion. Religion is a major mechanic that affects every exploration age and is fundamentally important to all of the legacy paths. By splitting these systems between ages, systems can be really focused on and prioritized in a much smaller area of the game than we've previously seen. So for instance, people often rush the religions at the beginning of Civilization VI, and there's a little bit of running with them for some time, but they quickly become obsolete, and some people don't even get to engage with religion at all. Combine this with the added aspect of there being individual tech trees and civic trees and civilizations for each age, and every age now has become a lot more specific and focused. This very much restricts the exponential pathways that an AI has to be coded for. Civilization V, Civilization VI, it doesn't matter which version of the game you look at, they are inherently very complicated games. You try running a game from turn 1 to turn 500 and see if you can get an AI to consistently play it well. It's almost impossible. But now the game has been broken down into 3 stages, they've only got to do a third of the job, and it's actually more simple than that, because a lot of the pathways an AI could take from one turn to another, well, those have been truncated in 2 different places. Splitting the ages has meant that there can be 3 versions of the AI with 3 versions of priorities that all play more specifically well. Ages were brought in to increase the capability of the AI playing the game, and I truly believe we're going to see a lot more of a focused and specialized AI experience than we've seen before. So mechanics like different types of warfare and finding treasures and bringing them back on treasure fleets, and even AI more suited to particular civs abilities. All of these specialist tactics will be much easier to capture within decent AI. Whether or not this was a specific aim of the age system, I'm still not entirely convinced, but the ramifications, I think, for getting clever AI, well, they're going to be huge, and I would not be surprised if we see some of the best AI in any Civilization game for this iteration. Such are the changes to how they have to program it. I hope you found this video interesting. I'd be very curious in the comments to find out if you think these 5 points on ages are the most important changes we're going to see, or if you've spotted anything that I've missed. It's certainly a huge change of the Civilization franchise, and I think one that's going to change the game in a lot of ways that maybe we're not potentially seeing right now. A big thanks again to Carl for taking the time and sharing the elements he is the most excited about. It really helped inform my thinking when pulling this video together. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.